Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Adventures in Truth livecast. I am your host, Jim Case, and I am excited to be with you here today. Today, we're going to talk about self-assessment. We're going to take a look at how we're doing within the context of what I call the four quadrants, the idea of looking at our lives in an assessment fashion so that we can see where we are to know where we're going. And it's going to be a great conversation, a lot of tools that I'm going to introduce today that come from my program in the science of transformation, and give you some information if you're interested in working with me later. And so I'm looking forward to a great show. But before we begin, we are here in book launch celebration, about a week now that the book has been launched, and I'm super excited about how it's doing and appreciate all of you out there who have ordered my book or ordered the Kindle that are about ready to dive into your first pages. I've been getting pictures on social media from people receiving their book, and I would love yours. If you get your book, please take a picture with it and share it so I can see that you've received it. But all the pre-orders are out and about. I'm excited to see that they're arriving in people's hands, and I'm excited for you guys to read and to hear your experience, because so far the reviews have been really spectacular. I'm really very happy with creating a book that for me had a very powerful impact in the process of its evolution. And part of that was the very clear understanding that this book can change your life. And the reason that I can say that, because I know that when you change your relationship with fear, it changes everything. And that's what I've been getting the feedback in my reviews, and the reviews that I'm receiving from people who are reading it and sharing with me what happens is that it does impact, it does cause you to alter your relationship with fear. And that's really what this is ultimately about. For you and me and all of us to shift out of that fear-based experience into an opportunity-based experience. And that opportunity-based experience changes everything from potential to opportunity, because in a fear-based experience, you're kind of in a tunnel, you're kind of in a very limited perspective. So it's challenging to see and be available to opportunities and potentiality that is there for you. When you're in that opportunity-based experience, suddenly this becomes this. And now the energies that are available to you, the potentials, the opportunities greatly expand, because now the universe and you have this enormous playing field to operate from. So all of the co-creative efforts that help you to manifest, to align, to come together with what you desire become clearer and become greater and become easier to access. So I encourage you, go over to www.adventuresintruth.com. I know I say that a lot. Just put it up here on the screen, adventuresintruth.com, where you can order the book. You'll see that there's information about the book and all of the links that you need to do that. I'm also going to ask for those of you who receive a book, those of you out there who are ready to read your book, I would so appreciate your review. I would so appreciate you going to Amazon and putting that review up for me, because it helps raise my visibility within Amazon and I can reach more people, which is ultimately what this is about. I want to get this message out. I want people to begin to migrate out of this fear-based reality that has been created and that we have participated in, and become free from that experience, because that's where our solutions lie. That's where the solutions to all of the things that we are confronting lie, is in that expanded potentiality, expanded opportunities. In fear, we have no solution. In fear, we have more of the same. So www.adventuresintruth.com, head on over, check it out. We'd love to get this book into your hands, because I think you'll find it's pretty remarkable. And we're going to take a quick break and come right back to start the show. Okay, here we go. All right, we are back. Welcome to the show, guys. Adventures in Truth, for those of you who have not joined me before. And I want to say welcome to some amazing platforms that I've gotten to participate in India. Jai Savan, I think, is one, and I'll remember the other and come back to you with that. But I hope that my friends in India are watching and enjoying the show. And if there's anything and you want to interact with the show, head on over to my Facebook page at Adventures in Truth or the Science of Transformation, and you'll see the live feed there, and you can interact with the show in the comments. You can leave comments and ask questions, and I will respond to them as quickly and as I can and throughout the course of the show. So today, the self-assessment time. Ultimately, where are you with you? And I wanted to take an opportunity to begin to kind of filter in. You can see here to my left, the Science of Transformation. And you may be wondering, what is the Science of Transformation? Well, that is part of the brand here, I guess, as it were. The Science of Transformation actually was the first in my process, as it were. When I was living in San Diego, I opened a center there. The Science of Transformation became and is to this day is my program that was evolved out of the Higher Brain Living program that I certified in many years ago. And having worked with hundreds of clients in this process of learning how to assess and then create a new state that we can exist from, that opportunity-based state. The Science of Transformation is all about that. It is a program that you can do in single sessions and multiple sessions. The arc of the program is 22 sessions. And the power of the program is that it helps to rewire this energy system. It helps to change the course of the energy, one going into the brain. So it's kind of helping to refocus the energy into the prefrontal cortex, into that place of opportunity and expansion. For me, this process has been extraordinary. It evolved over 5, 6, 7 years, I guess. Actually, it's evolved over about 2 decades when you get down to it. But so the Science of Transformation is a powerful program. You can work with me on that program. I work remotely and I work in person. And you can reach me through that I think I put this up here too. I did. The email address so that you can reach me is sciencetransformation@gmail.com. You can also reach me through Adventures in Truth at Gmail as well. But the Science of Transformation at Gmail is specific to the Science of Transformation, but of course it's all mine. So it's all part of the same process. So let's talk about self-assessment, and let's talk about, well, we're going to get into that actually. We're going to dive into this whole idea of self-assessment. And what I want to start this conversation with is I choose assessment specifically because I'm looking for, and I think you should be looking for, not a negative judgment process. So assessment is the ability to observe what's happening in each of the areas of your life and to assess, to just observe, where am I in relation to where I want to be? Where am I in relation to how I want to feel? Where am I in relation to the things that I want to create? And observing in each of those areas of our lives, how are you doing? What are you accomplishing? How are you feeling? What is your energy doing here? And being able to assess that and then create powerful change in those areas through focus, through meditation, through active work that will help, again, shift from that fear-based experience to the opportunity-based experience. So when we come back, we're going to start, of course, with our time to focus. So when we come back, we will dive more deeply into the topic. But first, let's take a moment to focus, shall we? Be right back. Alrighty, welcome back. We're going to take a moment to focus here. And this is a part of the show that I love because it gives us a chance to really align. It's a conscious process of alignment. It's a conscious process of invoking the breath. And it's a conscious process of being aware of your awareness and being able to consciously shift and move your awareness where you choose it to be. And then, as we're talking about, assessing the process. So what I want you to do right now is get comfortable wherever you are as best you can with your feet on the floor. If you're laying down, that's fine. Just be conscious of your anchoring into the earth. But I want you to become aware and let your eyes close now in a gentle, soft focus behind the eyes. And just be aware in this moment of your breathing, keeping your awareness where it is without moving or shifting. Just become aware of your breathing. Again, it's not a judgment of sorts, it's just an assessment. You're observing it. What is your breath doing? Now I want you to take that awareness and I want you to bring all of your awareness as best you can, every bit of your awareness. I want you to bring it to the inside of your body. Let's take it into the chest space, into the heart area. Just want you to bring all of your awareness inside. Feel, and I know sometimes it's challenging. The mind wants to jump around, and that's okay. Let it do that, but bring your awareness inside. Just focusing more and more and more with each breath, with each cadence that you hear, just bringing that awareness to the inside of your body. And become aware of how that feels. What does it feel like on the inside of your body? Let your awareness begin to travel on the inside, bringing the awareness up and around and in your head and around in your brain, behind your eyes, into your sinuses. Feel and experience all of that in your awareness. And let that awareness fill as it goes through the neck and shoulders. Notice that as you focus awareness, that there is a gentle relaxation that occurs just in the focusing of awareness. So as you bring that awareness through the neck and shoulders, if you feel a little tension, just focus for a second and let breath come through you. Feel that powerful breath breathing into that area and feel it dissipate. Maybe a lot, maybe a little bit. You'll feel a dissipation just by the attention you give it in the desire to feel it release. And you let that awareness travel down your arms and through your chest, all along in your back, the whole cavity of your torso, feeling that, just being aware. You don't have to force it, you don't have to drive it, it's an awareness. And you allow that awareness to move around on the inside. And as you do, you have experience. You don't have to seek anything out, you just allow the awareness to expand, and experiences will come up in your awareness. Going down through the hips, feeling those hips open as you bring awareness there and they relax and open up a little bit. You feel the back release and open up a little bit as it moves down into the legs and down the thighs and the calves into the feet. And now you have awareness existing through the entirety of your interior being. Be with that for just a moment. Feel that. Feel the vitality and aliveness that's happening deep inside of you, even if you may not feel that vitality and aliveness on the outside of you, but feel that that exists in there and focus on it and bring it to the surface. Bring it into the awareness and let it expand. And now bring your focus of your awareness again back into the chest. I want you to become aware of your breath and breathing and just observe the process of your breath. How does it feel? What does it feel like? When your breath comes on, does your breath lift your chest? Or does it fill your belly? Does it only lift in the front, or do you feel a 360-degree expansion when you breathe? Do you breathe into the sides, or just up to the front, or just up to the back? Does your breath stay at the top of your lung, or does your breath settle down deep? What does your breath do? Now what we're going to do is focus that breath as a foundation of the pyramid of wellness, of our wellness. Learning how to manage and work with breath is a powerful tool that helps set an incredible foundation for transformation. So we're going to focus in breath, and now we're going to consciously manage the breath, and we're going to do that in a cycle. We're going to inhale through the nose to a count of 4. We're going to fill completely, and when you're completely full, you're going to relax into that fullness for just a second or two, and then you're going to purge all of that air and energy out through the mouth, and you're going to purge to a count of 6, releasing all of that old air and old energy, letting all of that stale energy and breath move out of the lung so that each time you fill, you're filling with new life, new energy. Remember, breath is all about prana and chi and life force. It is that energy that animates us. So bringing that breath of fresh energy, feeling it move through your body and through your lungs. And then at the bottom, as you release to that count of 6 out the mouth, you're going to rest in the void. You're going to rest in that emptiness too, feeling comfortable, full or empty. So let's begin that now. We're going to begin with that inhale. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4. You're full at the top. You're holding, you're relaxing. And now you're releasing out of the mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Excellent. And resting in the emptiness. Resting and resting in that quiet emptiness as you inhale, engage the lungs. 2, 3, 4. You're completely full, relaxed in fullness. And then releasing out of the mouth. 2, 3, 4. Letting it all go. 5, 6. And now rest in the emptiness. Rest in that void. Feel the power of your breath as you engage the lungs and you open and inhale. 2, 3, 4. Full, relaxed. And then release. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Resting in that emptiness. You're doing an amazing job. Stay with it. Continue the rhythm on your own. Inhaling and filling completely. Really, each round, pull for more air. Look for more space that you can put more air as you fill. And as you reach the top, you're completely relaxed. And then you're choosing release, pushing it out of the mouth, driving all of that air out as it takes all of the old stale energy out. As you reach the bottom and you feel that beautiful sense of emptiness, that beautiful void space, just be with it and continue to breathe. Allow that cycle to continue in you, keeping your awareness completely within the breath. Becoming conscious of how that breath is feeling and moving within you, inside of you. It's an extraordinary experience. Be in that energy. And as you continue that cycle of breath, I'm going to share some words with you that I want you to just let flow through you and around you and over you. If it's good for you, it's great. If it doesn't, let it pass through and move on. But just some energy to really enhance this energy you're bringing in. I am the evolution of God realized as matter. I inform and guide that expression as the pure expression of God. I show up as God. I connect as God. I align as God. I am creation realized. And from that, I create, expand, and engage. I am. Feel the breath move through you spontaneously as you take that energy and feel how it impacts you. Whenever you encounter something that is of truth to you, you'll feel that magnificent breath take on in your body. You'll feel it expand you. And you'll know in that moment that you've stepped into a piece of truth because the breath calls forth the life force to support that truth. Feel that. And gently now complete the process. Being in that space, in that internal space of awareness, is a very powerful place and a very beautiful place that we want to stay once we become comfortable with. And that's awesome. I want to bring your awareness to include now back into the show, back into what's happening in our current present reality. Join us here as we continue on the conversation. So, carrying forth in self-assessment, part of the process of becoming conscious of your own process is the idea of self-assessment. And I think sometimes it's challenging because it's so easy to go into judgment as opposed to assessment, because we want to compare ourselves to how someone else may be doing, or how a teacher says we should be doing, or how some guru says you should be experiencing. And I want to tell you, from very early on, many years ago, I read an incredible book called Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. And the book was extraordinary, but I remember so specifically reading that book and thinking to myself, what a bummer. This is a really cool thing, but I'm not going to sit under a tree and meditate sitting on a rock for the next 20 years in order to achieve some level of enlightenment. And flash forward decades, as I've gone through my own experience and my own process, and the classes I've taken and the seminars I've done and the certifications I've received, and realized that I don't have to go that direction. I started having, just by virtue of finding surrender, by virtue of moving out of judgment, by virtue of the amazing process I was involved in, particularly with higher brain living, which has evolved into the science of transformation, having these powerful transformative experiences, but allowing my consciousness to continue to move toward those. I found that there are ways in this day and age that we can tap into that deepest aspect of ourselves, to find that transformation and that amazing life spring of change through focus, through daily practice, through desire, and particularly through assessment. And assessment allows us to look at the different areas of our life in a way that's about observing, that is not about judging. So this assessment is not a comparison against someone else or something else. It's a comparison of where am I to where do I want to be? Where am I in feeling to how I want to feel? Where am I in thought to how I want my mind to operate within the context of my being? All of these choices are available. It's just a question of how you put and focus your energy into them. So flash forward again, here we are 20 years later. We're not sitting, I will say, interesting, although we don't sit under a rock or under a tree, we do look for rocks under trees a lot. So it's an incredible thing, full circle kind of moment, where back then it was like the idea of it was daunting. And the idea of it was, why would I go there? And I want to be in the world, but I want to be transformed. I want to feel fully engaged in my own consciousness. And what's happened now is, through the assessment process, the absolutely amazing part of this is that desire for quiet, that desire for quiet, I'm looking for the word, for peace, for alignment, is such an extraordinary thing. And the craving for that, and the craving to be in the beauty of nature, and the way that you see everything in the pictures that show up in your consciousness when you walk outside, because what you're looking at is so spectacular in that moment that it just imprints. And you begin to feel that about everything that you experience, because you see the connections and the serendipities and all of the great things that come together to make this happen. So within the context of the science of transformation and context of my program, I like to look at things from the viewpoint of 4 quadrants. And bear with me as I go through this with you. I have what is called a state amplification tool, and you can learn more about that. Again, if you're interested, you can reach me at scienceoftransformation@gmail.com. And so the state amplification tool basically looks at 4 quadrants. It looks at 4 specific areas that we kind of consider as foundational to the human experience, right? And those 4 areas are the interior quadrant, the physical quadrant, the interaction quadrant, and the exterior quadrant is how I like to define them. And so we'll look first at this interior quadrant. So the interior quadrant encompasses everything that has to do with our interiority. That means everything on the inside. So includes how you think, how you feel, your emotional life, your mental life, your beliefs, your limiting beliefs, self-worth, self-esteem, religious beliefs, fears, phobias, connection to God, spirit, the universe, and generational beliefs and ideas. Excuse me, this quadrant is how you experience your life on the inside and all that encompasses. I hope that makes sense. So this is your interior life. The physical quadrant, this quadrant is all about your physical reality. This includes your diet, relationships to food, relationship with your body, exercise, breathing, how you feel about your body, how you treat your body, how you understand your body, how you communicate with your body, and how you relate in the world with your body, honoring your body, disease, and health. This is the physical quadrant, all things physical. In your interaction quadrant, this is all about relationships. Every relationship, everything you consider relationship, to self, to capital S self, to God, to authority, one-on-one, intimate relationships, sex, family, friends, groups, group activities, cultural ideas, beliefs and activities, how you interact in relationship to your world, your relationship in every dimension within your life experience. And then lastly, we look at the exterior quadrant. This quadrant is all about you and your interaction with the exterior world. What kind of environment do you live in? Where do you work in? Do you celebrate? Do you worship? How you feel about your place in the world, actually, where you live, how you engage all aspects of your world, and how that feels. Your finances, your job choices, family structure, money, career, all of those exteriorities, as it were. So again, interior world, physical, how you interact in the physical world and your physicality, interaction, all of the relationships that you have, and then the exterior, the environments that you exist and live in, whether it's your home or your work, wherever it is. How do you create those and what do they feel like? So those four quadrants really help to define our human experience. If you think about it, covers four major cornerstones to what it is to be a human being. So what we do in the science of transformation is that there is a whole process associated with this idea of creating the state amplification. And what the state amplification is what I talked about at the beginning of the show. This is where we're going to shift, changing the focus of our energy out of this fear-based experience into an opportunity-based experience. And we're going to amplify each quadrant through that process so that you can experience where you are in the context of that, how you feel about it, and then create a powerful change in that each quadrant, and then move forward with that. And being able to start creating new neural pathways in the brain, creating new grooves, as it were. That's how we build beliefs. It's how we build patterns. It's how we build changes in behavior. We regroove the brain. So this way we do it consciously. We consciously choose how we're going to rewire. We consciously choose how we're going to lay this in so that we are building a foundation in transformation and in the life that we choose here and the things that we choose within those quadrants that bring us to the highest possible energy or vibration that we can create in every moment. And remember that as you become more conscious, and what is becoming conscious? Becoming conscious is taking what is below the conscious threshold. Okay. And in anywhere you look in science, it seems like that about 90% of our existence lives below the conscious threshold. Every time we change that percentage, every time we bring something from the subconscious or unconscious to the conscious, we are becoming more conscious. And now we have the ability, when we pull it out of that warehouse, when we pull it out of that place that we don't see it on a regular basis, and we get to bring it out in front of us and look at it, we now have made conscious choice about how we will interact with that thing going forward. And when it's something that's a little more embedded, we now have a tool that we can focus into the specific quadrant that exists in, and we can help to rewire the brain to a new way of viewpoint, a reframing of our existence within that context, so that we create the change. And that when we do that, this thing that we brought conscious has a vibration. And when we choose to create that new pathway in our brain and change that course of that energy, everything that is surrounding this energy has to change, because the vibration that was here is no longer here. It's up here somewhere, or it's more expanded. So in its expansion now, we have more ability to see it more clearly, to reframe, and to change our relationship with it. And that could be to completely let it go or to change what it's doing. In a lot of cases, those old beliefs just simply need to go. The only reason they're still locked in our energy system is because of the emotional component that locked it there to begin with. That's where the belief gets stuck. So as these things change, you may experience an emotion that's similar to what you experienced in the original belief. But if you don't attach a story to that feeling, it's simply the energy leaving your system and dissipating and going away. So I want to take a quick second. That was a lot of information, and I want to have you take that in and do that while I'm taking a look here uh, at the comments. I see here Sherry says she's looking for inner peace to change her mindset, and Jackie is looking for serenity. Thank you guys for your comments. Um, Changing the inner peace and mindset is a powerful thing here, guys. There's so many ways to do this, but this tool in particular, um, and I can share more about it with you, but this tool in particular allows you to go into each quadrant, assess that quadrant, and then create these statements that you're going to use going forward that you're actually going to engage as you shift state. So you're amplifying your energy state, and then you're putting in this new vital information, or essentially creating a new story in the moment. And that becomes what is the thing that will be, as we call it, is called, is myelinating. It's what's causing this energy to become a part of who we are. And so when we work with that energy on a day in and day out basis, and you begin to use that, you begin to operate from that, because you're setting the tone of your vibration at a completely different vibrational space. And when you do that, everything that exists below that, that is in relation to that, has to change. It has to change because your core vibration is changing. And so now those energies that are vibrating at a lower frequency now have to figure out how to, they have to change. So they get excited, and the energy starts to be stimulated because it's trying to find its new space. And you are providing this new place with this change in your vibration. And so this stuff expands again. It becomes dissipated. It becomes less important. It becomes less attached. And as you do that, it simply dissipates. It simply goes away because you are now focused in a different place. So different from what we may have learned in the past, where we want to take this old thing, this old belief, this old idea, and beat it into the ground. No, 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 no. No resistance. No fight. We don't fight anything. There is no need to fight anything. This is about us changing us. This is about things that we've learned and developed over our lifetime that just require a review, that require assessment, that require saying, does this serve me anymore? Is this a part of who I am anymore? And if it is, then let's enhance it, let's grow it, let's make it even better. But if it's not, let's set an intention that's so far beyond that vibration that that vibration has no choice but to simply dissipate. If there's something you need to understand in that dissipation, it will come to you in your consciousness. You don't have to go rooting it out. You don't have to go hunting it. This is your field of awareness. This is your schoolroom. This is your university. So as those things go away, if there's something important for you to know, it shows up clearly and powerfully in a way that is demonstrating to you the power of your ability to change. Because what it does on the inside is that you begin to connect dots in your experience in a way that you never even really grasped before. Because you're now expanding who you are and realizing the enormity, the incredibleness of all that you are, and being able to allow that to inform where you are going forward. And when you come to that place, when you realize even just this much of how much greater you are than you have ever given yourself permission for, what happens inside of you is so profound, because it's what I call a visceral experience. And when I say visceral, I mean you feel it and know it at every cell in your body, at every micro whatever that exists within this being. You experience that knowingness. And that is the most extraordinary experience and the most connected to God and the universe and to all that is, that personally I have ever felt, and that I strive to feel every day, multiple times a day, because it is so satisfying, so fulfilling, and so expanding in ways that I never even imagined until I started to experience it. So, again, if you want to work with me, you can. It's easy, but we can do. I do this, where we can have a consultation. We can talk about the work and see if this is something that is of interest to you. And if it is, that's fantastic. I have an intro to the program where we offer 2 sessions for the price of one, and you get to experience it in your own context and then decide if it's something that suits you. But carrying on, we are going to about halfway through here. I'm going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive just a little bit further into this whole process. So we'll be right back, guys. All right, everybody, we are back. Thank you for being here. Going to check my notes here. It looks like somebody dialed. Oops, somebody did dialed in. Fantastic. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for being a part of this show today. And today we are talking about a little bit of self-assessment. Where am I? Where am I with myself? And so as you assess using these tools, looking at the interior quadrant, coming back to the quadrants, looking at the physical quadrant, the interaction quadrant, the exterior quadrant, take a few minutes and just dive into that. Maybe pick one for now. Pick any one area. Let's say the interaction quadrant, because relationship seems to be something that many of us or many people seem to be challenged with. But let's look at it in context, because in order to look at it, you have to look at the entirety of your relationships, and that includes your relationship to self. So you want to look at all of this about relationships. So as you sit in relationship, you may be desiring a significant other, you may be desiring some connection in relationship that you currently don't have. Well, part of that is understanding, one, that these quadrants all have relationships to each other. So the quadrants are not completely independent, because potentially, if you think about relationship issues, well, if you're having a relationship issue, chances are good there's something filtering from the interior quadrant of your experience. Something's happening on the inside that isn't quite prepared for having the outside meet you in relationship. So while you're sitting and assessing that interior experience, or excuse me, while you're assessing that interactive experience, you may find yourself looking in your interior experience to understand more deeply where you're at in the context. And that's why it's important to sit in the space of the quadrant as it is as a whole, because none of it is specific in the sense that it's limited to one thing. So the idea of trying to create a relationship or be in a relationship or find a relationship is rarely ever simply about one thing. It's rarely ever simply about just the idea of having a relationship. Although there are a lot of beliefs built up in our society that if you're not in a relationship, you're not a very good person, or you're not the best, or something's wrong, or whatever. But that's all part of what you assess, right? How much of that have you taken into your own experience? So sitting in the idea of this interactive quadrant, you feel your way into these different aspects of your relationship with myself. How do I feel about me? How do I feel about the state of me? I want a relationship. How do I feel about that idea of a relationship? Get real honest with yourself and let the feelings and the experiences come up. There's nothing to be afraid of in it. It's all you. There's nothing to be worried about in it. You're not going to discover some bizarrely horrible thing that you just never knew. There's always potential that you may have blocked or resisted some form of abuse that you received earlier in your life. That's a potential. But again, you, oh, there we are. We're back. So feeling your way into that interior quadrant is just about, again, without negative judgment. There's nothing wrong with you if you're not in relationship. There's nothing wrong with them if you're not in relationship. There are things, intricate, wonderful energy things that are happening within you that are preparing you to have a powerful relationship. The question is, how much are you attending to that so that you are creating a relationship that satisfies you, that fulfills you, and brings you the joy that you truly want out of this relationship? And I want to repeat that in a different form, because many times we build these concepts about relationships that I'll be better, I'll be more, I'll be whatever it is, I'll be, you complete me. The stuff that doesn't our reality in our relationship, the stuff that doesn't even register in consciousness. It's just ego driven stuff. It's just like, I need a new handbag, I need a new car, I need a new house, I need a new relationship. It's just junk in your experience. So rather than treating these things like junk, let's take time, go into that quadrant, be in the experience of you with you, and then you with another, and you with God or the universe or Gaia or whatever it is you see as that larger energy, the capital S self. Explore that area of your life and let it unfold for you so that you can make notes, write it down. What is my experience of this quadrant in my life? Chances are good the first thing, if you're looking for a relationship, is going to be, I want a fulfilling, wonderful, fabulous relationship. And that's fine. And that's good. But it's important to let the underpinnings of old beliefs come conscious, so that within that quadrant and within the entire experience, when they become conscious, it enables you to make conscious choice. And you begin to pick and choose those things that serve and release those things that do not, so that you're not creating out of a default place that isn't the place that you are at or the place that you want to go. Do you follow that? Does that make sense? Let it take you where you want to go. Because again, as we talked about earlier, when you bring your vibration up, anything below the level of that vibration has to change. It's physics, it's the laws of nature. It has to change. Yes, it can happen that something that when you get conscious that there's something that is a large thing in your consciousness that you've not dealt with in your life, that can feel like it's pulling you down or attempting to pull you back into an old energy. And what I would encourage you to do is stay clear in the new vibration. Continue to support that new vibration and allow it to bring this big chunk of stuff up to meet you. Because in that way, when you bring it to your awareness, when it becomes conscious, you'll be able to embrace it. You'll be able to interact with it without freaking out. You'll be able to see it for what it is, because you're seeing it from a different vibrational state than the one that you created it in. Okay? I know that sounds like a lot of words, and it's not as, it only is sounding complicated because we're using words and connecting things in ways that maybe not have been connected before in our minds and in our thought process and in how we're processing things. So I ask that as you take this information and just let it flow over you. Don't try to grasp every piece of it in 1 second. Let it infiltrate your consciousness and let it start to create change in you by virtue of being willing to receive it and then let it stimulate the change that it can be made. And then you can consciously step in more powerfully, obviously. But there's no wrong way here again, guys. Back to the idea of assessment. There's no wrong way. There is this way and there's that way. This way has choices and ramifications. That way has choices and ramifications. If you understand that, then when you make choice, you will always make choice that serves and has the ramifications that continue to move you forward, so that you're not necessarily going on this wandering path to get where you want to go, that you can go a more direct route because you're embracing all that you are and all the energy that is being brought forth because of who you are. So again, using these quadrants is a powerful tool. And I can put a copy actually of this quadrant definition page in the notes. So if you're interested in having that and being able to reference that, I'm happy to do that. So I'll put that in the notes as soon as I can after the show. But to that end, anybody, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to type them in there. This has been a big topic here, and a powerful topic. And if you understand what I'm talking about, and even if you don't, we can ask some questions, reach out. You can reach out to me off air as well. Again, scienceoftransformation@gmail.com or adventuresintruth@gmail.com. Either place, I'm happy to answer your questions, or you can leave the questions or comments in the comment section on the page that you're on, whether it's YouTube or Facebook. And I go through and review those, and I'll make sure to answer your questions and connect with you. So I guess at this point, I'm going to say thank you. This has been a fun show. I hope that it has reached you in a way that you can begin to find the ability to assess without negative judgment, that you're willing to sit in the quadrants of your experience and just assess where you are, determine what you want, and then build the tools to help that. And I'll help you with those tools if you're interested. But they give you, it's a powerful way of consciously moving through the process of change in an escalated fashion. So if you're looking for that foundation to your transformation, or you're looking for things that can help you change the state of where you're at, this is a tool that I think is profoundly impactful in helping that process. So www.adventuresintruth.com. I so appreciate you guys that are out there that are listening, and all of the new markets that we're getting into as we reach out into Europe and India and Australia and Canada, and everybody out there who is willing to participate in the conscious evolution of their life experience and in being conscious in your transformation. It's really quite extraordinary. I appreciate you just so much. You can always tap into what's happening in the Science of Transformation at Science of Transformation's Facebook page. You can go to Adventures in Truth Facebook page. Adventures in Truth also has a YouTube channel. So all of our shows, after they're live, are produced into the YouTube process. So all the shows that we've done are there and available at any time. And I try to share them as much as possible. And beyond that, please like us, please share, please do those things that help to move this forward in a great way. I want to reach as many people as possible. I want this message to reach as many people as possible. And you help that happen. You help that by liking and sharing and subscribing and letting people know that this is here and that they can avail themselves at any time. Again, www.adventuresintruth.com. I appreciate you all very much. I thank you for being here today, and I look forward to the next show. On Friday, I'm excited. We're going to be diving into taking a leap of faith, and what leap of faith is about, and how trust and faith and how important they are. And Deb Rock Evans and her husband Xander are going to be with us to talk about their leap and the adventure that has created for them. And I'm excited because as I was putting this show together, I am thinking in terms of the leaps that I've taken. I think I found 5 over the course of my life. So it's going to be a fun conversation to share these leaps and what the experience has been about. But thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of the family. And I look forward to seeing you next time. And have an amazing day. Okay? Thanks for being here. I have to find my button again. There it is. Oh.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Adventures in Truth podcast. Thank you for joining us. We'd love to connect with you. Please like us on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. To learn more about Jim's book, Fear is a Choice, Unraveling the Illusion of Our Separation from Love, or to book a session with Jim, you can email us at adventuresintruth@gmail.com, or you can join us on the web at www.adventuresintruth.com. Tune in next time for another great Adventures in Truth podcast.